Okay, I need to take a sip of water. I'm sorry, guys, I'm just like struggling here. I'm trying not to. Oh no, we're doing an energy check today. Hello, friends. I'm Hope with the Intuitive Mirror. I hope you're doing well. We're going to do a current vibe or daily. What are we doing? Current vibe? Let me see. Oh, no, we're doing an energy check today. Okay. So this is interesting. This is the second time I've started this reading, and the first time I had forgotten to do any smudging before. And I like to usually set the tone, set the pace for a reading and do that, or a little meditation beforehand, or all of the above. And as I started that reading, I was addressing the fact that we want to make sure during this wonderful season, eclipse season, number one, with March, we have a few eclipses that are happening. Also, Mercury is going retrograde, and we have Venus that is retrograde. So a lot of things up in the sky right now that is getting us potentially discombobulated and feeling a little bit out of sorts. And of course, so now here we are. Daily energy check is what we're doing today. Did I pull one card for you? No, of course not. I have the Everyday Witch Tarot, and this is the little mini pack. And so, of course, I was pulling the cards, and I didn't just get one, I got three. So there we go. Funny enough, at the same time, I keep getting this interruption with notifications and things like that. And in preparation for today's reading as well, I was receiving a lot of unexpected things coming up and interruptions. Also, though, some wonderful surprises. So, what I think the main theme is right now is to kind of gird your loins, as a friend of mine once said, and batten down the hatches if you're into the sailor ship folklore and sayings, and just kind of be ready for almost anything. Yeah, so things that might be disruptive, we're really being called then to respond in a way that would be in alignment with who we are, where we're at, and what it is we're wanting to achieve, right? So I spoke about this in a previous reading. Example, you want peace and you want a peace-filled life. Guess what, my friend? It's up to you to make sure that you respond in a peace-filled manner, regardless of who's coming at you and what's coming at you. So with that, who's coming at you, what's coming at you, here is our energy check. 3 cards. I'm going to try to see that the autofocus will pick this up. So first we have the, hiding my face, the 7 of Cups. I love that card. And then we have the Moon in reverse, which is very appropriate. And of course, I don't usually read reversals, but in this situation, I actually am reading reversals for this one because I'm being called to do so. And then we have the Page of Cups. Okay. Can you see that? I hope you can. Yes. Okay, good. So here we go. First thing I saw, and I'm sure that the symbolic life, the spiritual life that I'm living is helping to inform a lot of this. But here is an individual who has a lot of ideas. So what's coming at you here is maybe you have so many creative ideas and it's almost difficult to keep up with it, like communications, ideas for communicating, ideas for creating new ways to make money, ways that you can focus and do things new for your health and your benefit, matters of love as well. Maybe you're getting lots of suitors or options, people coming, perhaps also with the retrogrades, people coming back from the past, and oh, God help us, like if that's something that you're happy about, then, we can sort of figure out ways to slow things down as we are receiving some of these unexpected, new, delightfully new, and maybe not so delightfully new things that are coming in and out of the woodwork here. So lots of little options. I guess the one thing that's really coming out, and as you might tell, I'm sort of having difficulty putting my sentences together. So that's part of it. And of course, with Mercury retrograding, communication can be part of the effect, I guess. Communication gets truncated, if you will. And I'm certainly feeling that. So you're being just reminded to sort of slow things down a little bit and to, to prioritize. So this is where the moon in reversal is coming up. Okay. So some of these new things that might be presenting themselves might be bringing up lots of different emotions. And I think with a lot of the distraction and distractibility is what I'm hearing, a lot of the distractibility that's also emerging through this sort of energy vibe check here. You're being called to really get in tune with those emotions. And I'm sort of hearing that like emotions are maybe trying to override a little bit in this sense, which makes sense because we're also all cups in this reading along with the moon. Very emotional, my friends. And with that, so a lot of emotions with this distractibility. And if you are trying to set a goal and you are finding it really challenging right now, is to sort of get back down to the basics to figure out truly what requires your attention. What is the priority, I guess, is what you're being asked. Okay, what is the main priority? And you sort of do that. And I got that mainly because here we have the Page of Cups, who at the end of it here, notice that their garments are off to the side, right? So this individual has stripped down and gone back to the basics, and then they're able to let their creativity flow. Okay, so getting back to basics, learning to sort of roll with things, not letting the emotional piece overwhelm and take us over, because it's not going to serve us in our best way. Getting frustrated, for example, and letting that carry you away. I'm telling you, my friends, I am speaking from this experience because the last few days have definitely been a lot of heightened emotions. But really trying to keep that sort of in check, because creativity requires us to be at ease, right? It requires us to be relaxed in order to receive those ideas and in order to then transmit and transmute those ideas into something that would be tangible, especially if you're thinking about money. If you're someone who follows along and you're a spiritual seeker, such as myself, you might already be aware that during the Mercury retrogrades, if and when possible, try to avoid committing to anything like writing, signing, I should say, you can write, but signing any contracts or anything like that. And if you can't help but be writing there I go again, okay, so someone is writing a contract. Okay. When we are coming up with this idea of negotiating, maybe this is in relationship to, I heard a divorce was coming up. So like could be in connection to creating some terms for yourself and your former partner and making sure that there's some fairness between the both of you, equality, things along that line. You're scripting up something that might be a contract between you and a renter, or I got the sense of like a roommate, perhaps a roommate's coming to move in and you are looking to create some very clear terms so that it is fair for everyone. Okay. So that's sort of the big ones that are coming up there. You're just going to want to take your time. Again, this is a slow things down and make sure that you have everything sort of exactly the way you want it. The best plan might be to find a trusted other, someone outside of that agreement, to look things over and maybe really listen to some of the questions that they're asking. Okay. I need to take a sip of water. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do these cute short readings. And here we are. My goodness. Okay. So we're talking about contracts, and I was talking about writing contracts and terms and then speaking to someone else. And then I was speaking about listening to the questions being asked. And then all of a sudden my throat got so dry and so tight, I couldn't even speak. So making sure, how am I trying to interpret that, Spirit? Can you please, my spirit guides? Making sure that there it is again, tightening up, making sure that you are being heard, that all of the terms that you want are included. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm just like struggling here. I'm trying not to. And if there are some terms that can't be met, then which ones, this goes back to the original, these two here, right? Then which ones are worth letting go of so that you can prioritize, okay? So really priorities are coming into play with this. So if there's terms around the contract, what sort of priorities do you need? What's the thing you can let go of? Okay, let me think of an example. If I were entering into a lease agreement and I am looking to rent a new apartment, one of my non-negotiables is a bathtub. Okay, that is a non-negotiable. Now, maybe the place I've seen has everything else on the list, but it doesn't have a bathtub. Is it going to be my non-negotiable? Is that something that's important to me? Yes, it very much is. But is it also, there's sort of a checks and balances that's coming up, right? Does it have all the natural light that I'm looking for? What about the amenities close by? What about the price? Is it a really good deal? Is that something you could live without then, right? If your non-negotiable is not present, is there something else that's taking its place that might be a benefit to you in the long run? And again, I'm hearing, getting a trusted other. So bringing someone with you outside of yourself. Again, it's the vision I'm getting is a person who's looking at an apartment, maybe for the first time. Maybe you're, new, out living on your own as someone who's independent. Maybe bringing a parent or I'm hearing like uncle or something, like a trusted uncle or another adultier adult, someone else who cares for your well-being and can sort of see things that you might not be able to see. Oh, this brings up something as well. So like, I'm just going again with this, apartment analogy. If this is a, situation where you don't know anything about plumbing or electrics or like what a good foundation might look like in a house, but you do know someone who does have that sort of expertise, bring that person along with you. Okay. So doesn't have to be just with regards to housing, real estate, and apartments. This might be bringing someone in, again, who might know you quite well, and also be able to see things that you might not be able to see. Now, there was a reader I was listening to probably about a week ago at this point of me recording this. And the reader was suggesting talking to your dearest friends and asking them where they think your blocks are, which can be a really tricky sort of experience depending on your ego's sensitivity. But that might be something as well that could be considered. What are some things that you might not be seeing in this situation? And this other idea that's coming up is trying to speak. Someone here is maybe thinking of moving in with someone else in a loving relationship sort of situation. And does that feel like it's being rushed? This is where speaking to someone else who might know both of you might be able to give you some feedback or, feedback on you or what have you. I am not one to talk. I'm not one to talk at all. I met my now spouse and 3 months later or less, and he was in another town when we met. He moved to the city and we basically moved in together right away. Do I recommend that? No. And here's what's really funny. We're now, decades in, and I looked back. It was probably when we were about 5 to 7 years in our relationship at the time. I look back, I was like, what were you thinking? You didn't even know me, right? But at the time, we really felt this connection and it felt like the right thing to do. Now, that's a success story. That's a lucky thing. However, I did talk to friends We talked it out in terms of things we were worried about and concerned with, right? Like, I want my own space and, like all that sort of stuff. And I felt comfortable enough to have that conversation with him. And he felt comfortable to have that conversation with me. So if you are, again, stepping into something like that, where maybe it is of a romantic nature, that's also coming to terms with things, right? Like, what are the terms? Like, what's going to happen on a really bad day? What if I just need my quiet time? Like, where do I go? Where do you go? What's going to happen given that situation? Where are we going to live regarding work? Like, all that sort of stuff. And that's what's coming up here. So again, my goodness, you guys, I'm so sorry. Lots about communication and a lot about oh my God. Okay. Woof. All right. Lots about communication. And then I heard, and lots about manipulation. I don't know who that's for, but you're being reminded. And I'm also being reminded, just by the way I'm seeing things, how propaganda is being communicated. Oh my God, this is getting deep. This might need to be another reading, but the idea of propaganda, and this could be on a massive scale or it could be on a smaller scale. Are you receiving information, and do you have a full picture, a clear picture truly of what is going on? And I'm hearing boots on the ground. So if you are, it's going back to needing more information, slowing things down and not rushing. This is the big thing. So, okay. So in that propaganda and manipulation thing that just came up at the end, my goodness, that's exciting. Again, we don't want to rush into anything. We don't want to make a choice or a decision that might not be for our highest good or the highest good of others involved in that decision making. So kind of try to see if you can sift out the wheat from the chaff. So like, what is the authentic parts versus what's not? So in the sense of propaganda, maybe on the personal scale, maybe this is a dating situation where someone is, pumping themselves up to be something they might not fully be, right? So like, just kind of see if you can sort of sort out where here's a person trying to really sell themselves versus not. And keeping in mind where it could be coming from too. It doesn't always mean that this person's out to get you. Like, that's not what that means. It just means being mindful and truly listening with your ears, but also your heart and your gut instincts. Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because I think that could become another reading, and I might just pursue that as another reading. But my friends, that was our daily energy check, and I hope this finds you in good spirits and you are well. And don't forget to like, subscribe. Please leave a comment. Would love to hear from you and get some feedback. And, if you like my driving, how are we doing so far? And I will see you next time. I am Hope with the Intuitive Mirror. You have yourselves a wonderful day.